Welcome everyone that's joining us. Hi, I'm Donna and I'm the owner of Riverside Beads, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do an inside out Kumihimo. Now this is a beaded Kumihimo project, but they call it inside out. So the cord shows on the outside. Now sometimes when you learn to bead, this can just sort of happen by mistake. And you sort of end up with either this or a combination of this and a regular beaded one. So today I wanted to show you how to achieve this because I love the look of it. It's beautiful on its own, and also it's got a button and loop fastening. Now this is one of the projects from my book, so I just wanted to show you how to do that and some of the tips and techniques really. So I'll just pop in and say hi to you all, and then I shall pop out of the camera so you'll be able to see everything that's going on. Okay, so I've got the Kumihimo disc here, and I've got a button and some size 8 seed beads as well. So I'm going to show you how to get started with the button. This is a piece of cord that I have pre-used that I've got here, so it just looks a bit messy on the end, but it's absolutely fine if you need to repurpose a piece of cord. My ends were nicely prepared on this, which I'm going to explain to you in a moment. Okay, so how this will work. So for a button and loop fastening, depends. I've got the other example of the kit that we've currently got at the moment. We do the kit in red and purple, and they're currently on offer at £5 a kit. But that one's a 4-hole button, and this one's a 2-hole button, and the techniques works exactly the same for either of those. So this new one that I've got, I'm going to make a matching bracelet to match one of our other necklaces. So I'm going to pop 4 of the cords through that side of the 2-hole button. Get to the messy bit in the middle because that's where I've previously been braiding with it. And then I'll pop those other 4 down the other side. Like so. Okay, I think I missed one. You just thread that in after. So the key to this working is that I have pre-prepared the ends. Now whenever I do beaded Kumihimo, I would always do that. So by pre-prepared, what I've done is I've got my S-lom and I have took the end there and I've cut that at an angle. So you get that really nice crisp angle there, and I've nail varnished around 1 inch or so up the ends, then let that dry. So that is like little needles then. That really helps the process of picking up your beads and getting those loaded onto your cord. So instead of doing other things that I've shown in here, such as tie in the centre and such like, this one, the button is your centre. And then what we do is we lay these cords out either side of north, east, south, west. Just get those arranged. So this is 8 braid Congo Gumi, the regular Kumihimo that often is a common one that people learn first. And what I've done in my book, I've expanded on that in different methods. So different ways that you can use that braid in different ways to achieve different finishes. And each of the projects in the book has a different style to it. So this one also shows you how to do a button and loop fastening, which is a really useful technique. Really good if you've got somebody who's allergic to metal, or you just don't want to have metal on it, you want it to be more natural or something and not have the metal findings. You could put a wooden bead or something on there. So this is the way that we do it. So we've got that set up in the centre. Now we do a regular Kumihimo. So I've covered videos previously with a bit more detail on this, but it's top right down, bottom left up, quarter turn, top down, bottom up, quarter turn again and repeat, and this gets us our starting point. So I'm just doing a little section here now. This section becomes the bit that the the button and then the loop fastens over before we start doing the beaded part. So this just needs to be a few millimetres to wrap the loop part of your button and loop fastening onto. So I shall keep going for a little bit more. The diameter of this comes out something about 4 millimetres when it's all finished and all together, 3 to 4 mil, but a 4-5 mil end cap tend to be quite comfortable if you are putting end caps on this size of cord. But also when you're considering this part that I'm doing here, which is leaving a gap below the button there, then you want to be looking at doing this so it in there. So this is about the size of that needing to go over. So we are about there with that now. Yeah, that should do us. Okay, so now we're ready to load our beads on. So that's going to be the one end of it. And let me just show you what we're heading for. So that is, I've gone a little bit larger on that one. Hopefully that one will be enough that I've done there. Certainly be okay for demo purposes because I won't get the full thing done. And then the other end, you create a loop to go over that. And you've got some binding and things. That is all covered in the book though, if you are thinking you want to try this full project. I don't have a one that's at the end to show you that exact bit. Maybe a job for another live, just the startings and ends. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to load our beads in the same way as we would if we were doing our regular beaded Kumihimo. So you can pick them up straight from your mat, and with that nicely prepared end, that's like a little needle, and they just scoop on. Particularly if they're in a pile like this, you can just scoop them on. Pop those down. So if you're working on your desk, you might want to pop them down onto bobbins as well. So all those regular rules apply that I think I covered most of in my beaded demonstration. And it's certainly covered in the book as well. Other options if you find it a bit, you don't like to have them on the top. So I'm just going to load 3 of this on these 2 strands. 3 of the same colour on the opposites. So for those of you that follow this, this is Donna pattern cutter, the Margaret Infinity knot, which is my next demonstration I'm doing. One knot in the end of my cord, just undo that. And it's in one of the colourways that we do is in this lovely colourway, and I thought this would make I don't actually have a matching bracelet for it. So I thought in a different style, this would make a really nice matching bracelet. Well, that's my hope. We'll give the colourways a go, and that's the good thing. And that's sort of, you can just undo. All you do is your cord gets a bit sort of creased, I suppose, if it's been sat knotted up. But it's reusable. Everything's reusable. You can take your beads off again and go again. So we're going to give it a go. It will show you guys the technique today, and then we'll see whether we like it as a matching bracelet. So that is that one there. So that's one colourway. So I've gone for opposites. I've gone for the same colour on those opposites. Now on the other 2 cords, I'm going to go my other colourway, which is a silver lined bead. So these are all a size 8. Your your Eslon here is a 210 0.5 Eslon. So that or a 0.6 macrame cord are good for loading the beads on. And then these are size 8s. They just work comfortably. You can go down a size with your cord and use size 11s, but it's not my go-to for Kumihimo. I've done some on it, but I just find that once you start going down a size, you're more in bead weaving territory for me. I know the work is phenomenal, the detail and the pattern you can get. So a few more on here, so I'll do 3 more beads on there. So take your cord to your bead, load it on, and then either pop it on the top if you're okay working like that, or pop it around some bobbins. I would normally, if you're familiar with the technique and comfortable to do the braiding, I would probably be loading quite a few, because I do like to do a load in one session, get them all loaded up, and then have the fun of braiding them through in another session as well. I find this quite a therapeutic thing to do. As long as you've got good lighting, you're good to go. Okay, so here's how it works. So when we do the beaded one, where we do it so the beads sit on the inside of it, we push it under the cord it crosses. Now this time it's going to sit on top of the cord that it's crossing. So this works like this. We put that over there. The cord goes in place, so top down, exactly as we did. And that, we are getting that to sit between those two cords. It's not going to show too clearly yet, but it's just a positioning thing at the moment. So what you have to be more aware of with this one is it doesn't seem to stay because you're not tucking it under, you're positioning it in place. So it's not going to stay there completely for you. Be careful not to over pull your cord because that's when it won't even stay where you're trying to get it. So we've just got that position there. Now when we do this next move, that's when it's going to stay. So we're going to take one bead, bring that over, and then as we bring this one over, again I pulled that very slightly there, that has secured that one in place that we're sitting there. This one now sits on top of those cords, and then when we do this one and this sits over the cord, it's going to secure that previous silver lined grey one in place and leave those two clear silver line ones exposed. So that is the one we've just put in, and now those two are completely secure where they need to be, inside out. So it has a natural tendency to want to sit under the cord, which is great when you're trying to learn your beaded one, but for this we don't want it to do that. We want it to sit there. So as we take each one over, we're popping that there, and that is sitting between those cords. I'll give you it from a few angles so you can see. Now the ones that are enclosed are those first four. So those first four now are completely secure and exactly where they need to be. These two here are loose. So if I tipped, it's quite, no, it's not moving actually, which is kind of handy. Yeah, it did jump out there. So it's making sure it just sits there. It's like a positional thing until we move that next one in, which will secure that in place. That jumped out again, which is very handy when I'm trying to show you sort of what to look for. That's the sort of thing that can happen. So again, that's secured. Now that's gone nicely. As you do more than one, this pointer braiding that you work with just becomes a little bit clearer. So now we're on like another repetition round, and the space, the tramline gap that I've got there that these are sitting on top of is much, much clearer. So we rotate. So remember that process. Be a secure braider before you tackle your beaded one. Make sure you understand the top down and bottom up, and be familiar with the moves so that you know you can do those when you know, without thinking. So then you can concentrate on learning the different techniques of adding the beads in different ways. So this is starting to flow a little bit nicer for me now. Just have to make sure they don't go underneath the cord. So that just looks like a big flat beaded collection. When I now pull this, not much to show you yet, but you can see it started to cone inwards there. So my hope was 3 beads on each will give us a little piece to show you. So we're doing the inside out one. We're looking to achieve this look where the cord sits on the outside and the beads on the inside. Normally, if you come in and are looking for a cord, you know, you can go something nice and neutral, goes with most beads if you're doing regular beaded Kumihimo. If you want to do inside out, the neutral ones still go, but this is where all those beautiful colours of Essilon that we stock come into their own, because then you can start to coordinate your cord with the beads that you're using because you see it. So you can see on the purple one we do coordinate a purple cord on there, nice lilac, and then on the red one we put a nice red cord as well, because you see it all here and you do see it going on the outside of the beads. I find with a regular beaded one you don't see all of that. It's sort of hidden inside. There's a tone of it, but it does sit rather nicely. I have to just concentrate myself on this one because my natural instinct, I make much more of the other beaded ones. So if you've spotted me push one under, you'll see it. There'll be an obvious mistake when I go to go to do it. So now, very kindly, as I'm doing these, they're just fitting exactly where I want them to. So that does speed up the process a fraction. So I should be able to show you a tiny bit of something going on underneath here. I love new colourways. There we go. And we've got that inside out. So what you're seeing is the cord runs down there. The thread path sort of goes down there. And then the beads are on the inside of the netting, so to speak. So to show you it on this one. So we've started here. This is the bit that's going through my disc. We didn't do that quite as long, but I think we're going to be okay with what we've done. Then we've started our beaded part. Now this is all in one colour. So this one comes out all in one colour. You get to the other end, you do a loop fastening, and then you bind it round. And then that loop goes round the button, like so. So then you really are looking with this one to make sure you don't accidentally tuck those beads where they're meant to, well, not meant to be, where they are for a regular beaded Kumihimo, because then you end up with them in a bit of a mess. It doesn't combine very well to do some inside and some outside. So that's inside out Kumihimo in a nutshell, really. You keep going with your beads, a bead every single time. And then we've got that lovely, hopefully that's a black button. It looked it in the light I had out there. And this will make a gorgeous kit with a nice black button fastening. And then your inside out. And hopefully this will match next week's project. So thanks so much, and I'll hopefully see you sometime next week.